All right, let's talk about AI. It feels like it's everywhere, right? Changing every industry, and human resources is absolutely no exception. But, as we bring in all these amazing, powerful new tools, we've got to stop and ask a really important question. Where do we draw the line? So, today we're going to dive into those essential human parts of HR that technology, well, it just can't and probably shouldn't ever replace.
So let's just get right to the heart of it with this question. Really think about it for a second. Think about the most delicate, the most complicated, the most emotionally loaded situations that happen at work. Can a piece of code, no matter how smart we make it, actually navigate that? This is the fundamental tension we're going to unpack.
And let's be really clear here. This is not some far-off science fiction idea. AI is already here in HR. And frankly, it's incredibly good at what it does. It's making recruiting smoother, it's handling payroll, it's analyzing workforce data on a scale and at a speed that was just unimaginable before. As a tool for efficiency, it's a total game changer. And this is really the whole point of our conversation today, efficiency isn't the only thing that matters, not by a long shot. There are certain jobs, the ones that get to the very core of what it means to be human at work, that just demand a human touch. These are the things that actually build a healthy, trusting, and decent workplace culture. So, what are we actually talking about here? What are these so-called irreplaceable qualities? We're going to break down three main areas where technology basically hits a wall and where human leadership is absolutely non-negotiable. Let's get into the first one.
First up, empathy. And this is so much more than just, being nice. In HR, empathy is a high-level skill. It's the ability to genuinely see things from an employee's point of view, to understand what they're going through not as a data point, but as a real lived experience. An algorithm might be able to process a complaint, sure, but it can never understand the fear or the frustration behind it.
And this is where it gets real. Just think about these situations. Mediating a fight between two coworkers, that takes reading the room, hearing what's not being said, and trying to build a bridge. Or what about talking with someone about a deeply personal issue they're facing? That moment requires real compassion, real trust, things that can only ever exist between two people. Okay, next on our list is judgment. This is all about navigating the gray areas. You see, AI is incredible when things are black and white, when there are clear rules and tons of data. But so many of the most critical decisions at work live in that messy gray space. They're full of nuance and context, and you have to think about the ripple effects down the line. And the weight of these decisions, it's just massive. Who gets that promotion? It's not just about hitting the numbers. It's about leadership potential, how they fit with the team, their vision for the future, and deciding on disciplinary action, or even worse, having to let someone go. These are life-altering moments. They demand careful, thoughtful, context-aware judgment that, frankly, only a human being can provide. And our third and final quality is a big one: confidentiality and accountability. This is just so critical. Look, a machine can be programmed to keep information secure, no doubt, but it can't be held accountable, not in a real, ethical way. It can't own the responsibility for keeping that information safe.
Let's just look at this side by side because it makes it super clear. The AI's job is to do a thing. It processes data, it follows a command. The human's role is to be responsible for it, to be accountable, to make sure it's being used ethically. And AI can't stop and ask, wait, is it right to use this information this way? That question, that pause, that is a fundamentally human job. So here's the bottom line. When something goes wrong with sensitive data, you can't fire the algorithm. Trust in a company is built on knowing that there is a person, a real human leader, who is ultimately on the hook for protecting people and their information. That accountability, that's the absolute bedrock of trust in any organization. Okay, so all of this brings us to what might be the most important takeaway here. What happens if we get this balance wrong? What's the real danger if we lean too heavily on the tech? And this quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. The biggest risk isn't that the AI will mess up or that the technology will fail. No, the greatest risk is that we rely on it too much, that we automate the very things, the very interactions that make a workplace feel human. And this means we have to be proactive. This isn't something that will just sort itself out. It requires leaders to make a conscious, intentional choice. They have to actually sit down and pinpoint the exact moments and roles where their company's values, where trust, where ethics are on the line. And then they have to actively protect those roles and make sure they stay firmly in human hands. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Take a look at your own job, your own team. As all this technology keeps rolling in, where is that line for you?
What things are perfect for automation to make life easier? And which moments, which conversations absolutely have to be preserved for people? Because how we answer that is going to define what work looks like for everyone. Thanks for tuning in.